Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Akakadesh. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles and bishops of Great Millstone, to the Akim Aqua, try the falcons of the earth, holding on to the gospel of the Lord of Mashiach Yahweh Shai in sincerity and truth and diligence of mind. This is Brother Abnasha DC Camp, another lesson for the hopeful elect. Yeah, just to keep us motivated and in remembrance about the importance of having laborers in this ministry. You know, you need members of the body to be active. You know, that's why the Moshiach Yahushua talked about the laborers, right? You have to have the spirit of being a laborer in this ministry for you to generate a bounty for the Lord, you know, a bountiful harvest, you know, the parable of the sower. So you just have to keep that at the forefront of your mind. Because when you read this precept, Matthew chapter 9, we start from verse 35, and Yahushua went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. So he's basically laboring, all right? He is tending to the Most High's vineyard, all right? But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. So we are basically in a vulnerable state. All right, we need the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai to bridge that gap. You know, to plug in those holes. You know, those holes of vulnerability, those breaches. We need those repairs to be made, and that's what the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai has always been doing and encouraging his servants, his apostles, his followers on doing the same thing too. All right. And then in verse 37, it talks about, then said he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. So this is one thing we have to remember. You know, there's always room for more laborers in this ministry. That's why you got to pray that the Lord, you know, send more laborers, you know, to get these works of prophecy taken care of, man. This gospel has to be preached throughout the four corners of the earth. As many laborers as possible, the Lord is going to raise up. You know, it's what we've been praying for, and you know, it's a process, and it's getting there. And you'd be surprised what happens, man, when the Lord allows this stuff to go full steam. Now, verse 38 says, pray ye the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. And that's what we're looking forward to, man. We're praying that the Lord continue to wake up more brothers and, you know, sisters, you know, to adhere of salvation, the promise of repentance, the promise of faith. You know, you got to combine all three together to get the perfect picture. You know, that is the kingdom. Okay, so you can't live on this earth without acknowledging the value of Hamashiach Yahushua's insight into having our people to participate in their own salvation. You can't be idle. You know, you can't be dormant in this ministry. You know, you're going to have your moments where you're not going to be able to be productive like you're supposed to, but you still have to put forth the effort to to continue, continue that legacy of the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. The servant is not above the master, so you have to continue that legacy. If you say that you're a servant, you follow a disciple of Hamashiach Yahushai, you have to follow in his footsteps. All right, you have to be willing to visit the people with this gospel of redemption. All right, that's what this scripture's all about: redemption, man. Restoring your identity, your integrity, your courage, your faith to a level that is self-sustaining. And that's what we're looking forward to. All right. Now we look into the book of Matthew, chapter 20, and 6 and 9. It says, "And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and said unto them, Why stand ye here all the day idle? And they say unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall ye receive." And that's what we're praying for, man. That at that critical moment, that the Lord will raise up his servants to participate in this ministry. That's what we're looking forward to. The more, the merrier. Many hands make light work. That's what we need, man. We need as many laborers in this vineyard. It makes it easier. That you don't have to like your workload basically reduces when you have more people available to help out with this ministry. You have different parts of the body, and that makes it easier for the main parts to function. You don't have any strain on the elders and apostles, because you can't cover every topic. They cannot attend to every case that brothers need assistance with. That's the reason why the Lord had to multiply his branches. That's just what happens, man. Branches multiply. Once you sow the seed and the seed starts to germinate, you start seeing the stalk and the leaves and all that stuff. The trees start to take form. Then the branches begin to pop out and expand. More branches begin to come in. That's just how this ministry is. All right. So verse 9, actually no, what verse 8 says, "So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last to the first." So everyone that participates in the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai's ministry, his harvests, his vineyard and all that, they're all going to receive a reward, which is the kingdom. You're not going to be left empty-handed when you do your part that is afforded to you. All right. You're not going to be able to do everything that you want to do. All right. It's about what the Lord has given you to do. It's not about what you want to do. All right. Remember that. Everyone has a different level of faith. So you're only going to perform according to the level of faith that the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai has distributed. All right. Everyone has their own obligation, how you call it, responsibility in this ministry. Okay. Diversity of gifts. Every gift is not for every occasion. All right. Just remember that. Every gift has its own occasion. So you just have to let that sink in. So one more verse. "And when they came, they were hired. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny." So that's the whole point. Don't make it a point of complaint that one brother's not doing as much as you want him to do. But you just have to pray, keep it in the spirit, because the Lord will always open your mind up to see exactly where that brother would need assistance. These younger brothers in the faith, they would like to, do exactly what the so all they can do is just stay at the level that the Lord has, proposed for them and work on it. If you're gonna be at the corner, hey, be the best corner man. That if you're gonna be in the middle, be the best middleman. Do your play your position, to the best of your ability. Be good at what you do. That's all it is, man. That's just how it is. You can't be Mr. Know-it-all or what you call it, jack of all trades in this ministry. You can't cover all the topics in the scriptures. That's why the Lord allows brothers to come on in, and that gives you time to focus more and handle matters properly. All right. Now we read from the book of John, chapter 4, 34 to 38. Yahushua said unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. All right. So Yahushua sees himself as a laborer, and he has to complete the task that had been assigned to him. And that same thing, that same operation, it trickles all the way down to the followers of the Lord HaMashiach Yahushua. All right. Verse 35 says, say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. Okay. And that's just symbolizing that, that the Lord has created an opportunity for us to visit our people so that they can receive this gospel with meekness and sincerity of spirit to handle this word, successfully, even into the hour of temptation. All right. That's just what happens. Now, verse 37, and herein is that saying true, one soweth and another reapeth. Yep, that's the whole idea. Somebody that's doing the work and somebody that's reaping the work, they're still working together. They just have different responsibilities. All right, that's just how it is. So you have to respect the boundaries between the sower and the reaper. You have to respect the qualities of these groups of individuals. These groups of folks dedicated to the tasks of tending to the master's vineyard. All right. Now it says in verse 38, I sent you to reap that whereon ye bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and ye are entered into their labor. So, as servants of the Lord HaMashiach Yahushua, you're always going to be a beneficiary of those that have been in this ministry before you. Just always remember that from the apostles and those before the apostles, even those that are on the sidelines thinking about, whether they should join or not, hey, you're still learning. So they can't deny where they learned it from. Because, sooner or later, the evidence always comes out. So you just have to be focused on keeping your mind single. With this gospel Lord of Mashiach Yahushua, you don't want to be distracted because of what the world is concerned about. All right. So move on to another precept. So for you to be a proper laborer, you have to be focused on the task given to you. You don't have time to be prioritizing breaks when the work has to be completed to a certain degree. All right. So this is First Corinthians chapter 3. I'm going to read from verse 6 all the way to verse 10. I have planted, Apollo watered, but Yahweh Hashem Shai by Hashem Kalkadash gave the increase. So that's just how it is, man. The Lord is the one in charge. He controls everything. All you have to do is just, hey, let your contribution count, okay? Let your contribution be according to the Most High's commandments, according to the Most High's statutes, His sayings, His words of prophecy. Now, verse 7 says, So then, neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but Yahweh Shema Shai by Shem Kalkadash that giveth the increase. That's just what you have to remember. This ministry is nothing without the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai by Shem Kalkadash. So always keep that as your main focus. And verse 8 says, Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his labor. All right. So that's one thing you have to be excited about, that your work and your labor will count as value to the master's vineyard. Okay. And then now it says, for we are laborers together with Yahweh Shema Shai by Shem Kalkadash. Ye are the Most High's husbandry. Yeah, the Most High is building. So you have to review your perception, your vision of who you are. You're the Most High's property. Just keep it simple as that. And then verse 10 says, according to the grace of Yahweh Hashem Shai by Hashem Kakadash, which is given unto me, as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon, but let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon. So you have to realize that what the Lord has given to you as his blueprint, it has to be followed to the T. You have to stick with the details. The Lord is not going to give you instructions that will confound you. His instructions are to enlighten you, to motivate you, to light that spark up in your spirit, so you can have a clarity of mind to accomplish every requirement set before you. Okay? You could take a good example of our forefather Moses. All that instruction that the Lord Yahweh Hashem and Shai gave unto him, and he was able to pass it on to the people. Hey, that's something we all need to aspire for. So let me get from the book of Sirach, and I'm going to adjust this screen because of some glitches I'm trying to avoid. But I'm going to read from the book of Sirach. Let's see. You know what? I'll go to Proverbs. Yeah, I'll leave Sirach alone for the meantime. So, book of Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 6 and 4. What does it say? Give no sleep to thine eyes, no slumber to thine eyelids. Okay? That's one thing you have to remember. The laborer is not in the vineyard because he wants an opportunity to enjoy some slumber. It's to work. It's to generate something that is beneficial to the community, or what you call the tribes, the nation of Israel, right? The so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans. Now, people scatter throughout the four corners of the earth. You're supposed to have something for them, you know, have a lesson for them that they can benefit from. That's exactly what the Lord expects from His servants. Always have something available. All right, you shouldn't have a empty what you call it, an empty portfolio. When you go for all these festivals or forums or conferences, at exhibitions, you know, you have a portfolio, you have the things you put on display. So when you have your works on display, then the people will be able to have an idea of what your message is all about, because the clues are already there and you're making it plain upon tables. So the degree of confusion, you know, would be very, very, very minimal. All right. So you just have to continue along that path. And hey, you know, just be glad, man. You're not here to slumber. You're not here to sleep, man. You can't be sleepy and be working at the same time. You know, that's not a good combination. Otherwise, you're going to mess up the whole structure of the process. So you have to learn to be alert. You know, you have to be spiritually alert to get the results that is required of you. So now we read from the book of John, chapter 15 and 1. This is what Yahushua says. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. So there's a relationship that has to be acknowledged. So what do? You have to fall in line with that mindset that the Lord HaMashiach Yahushua just made plain. Okay, you have to submit to the Lord's mindset. That's what you need. That's the type of mindset you're supposed to have. All right, just like the scripture talks about, you know, man being made in the image of Yahweh Shema Shabash Makakadash. All right, to have that image of the Lord HaMashiach Yahushua, you know, projected into your spirit, so that you can sup with Yahweh Shema Yahushua Bashim Makakadash. All right, so I'll leave it at that. We go to another precept, then Abaratazar can get another lesson in that is long overdue. James chapter 5 and 7. What does it say? Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruit of the earth, and had long patience for it, until he received the early and latter rain. So remember, you know, the Lord HaMashiach Yahushua is in the heavens, awaiting the production from his vineyard. He's expecting the germination of of the seedlings and all that stuff, man. From the seedlings to the small plants and all that stuff, and then from there, you know, start having the plant to grow bigger and becomes more mature and begins to bear fruit. That's what the Lord HaMashiach Yahushua is expecting this ministry. That the first fruits, the elect, you know, spiritual, the falcons of the earth, are at a level that the Lord HaMashiach Yahushua will be able to, you know, go along with the green light for the harvest to take place. All right. So that's what we're looking forward to. That the Spirit, you know, which is the water that is needed for the seed to grow. You know, it's something you always have to remember. You know, the supply of that water. You know, the everlasting water to keep your spirits rejuvenated. To make sure that your spirit never thirsts. That's what you need, man. To make sure that your faith doesn't fracture. So you have to be encouraged on a daily basis as to why you need that rain. Okay, when there is no rain, what do you think is going to happen to to the plants? The yield will be very, very bad. It will be a poor yield, okay? And that'll be a waste. So that's one thing you remember. You don't want to be like that tree of figs that got cursed by the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. That's why you gotta pray that the Spirit is always with you, and you're bringing forth fruit meet for repentance. All right. So get another precept from the book of Second Ezra. Second Ezra, chapter 5. Actually, Slakia, chapter 8. And let's see, 41. For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground, and planted many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up. So it's not always going to be an immediate germination of the seeds. All right, and it says, neither doth all that is planted take root. So remember the parable of the sower. Not every seed made it to an acceptable level of bountifulness, of fruitfulness, of productivity. Okay, only those that were planted upon good soil were really acknowledged. All right. Neither doth all that is planted take root. Even so is it of them that are sown in the world; they shall not all be saved. And that's the whole, the whole picture of the Moses prophecy concerning his people. Only the elect spiritual falcons of the earth, and the 1/3 is what the Lord is looking forward to having in his kingdom. All right, for the people, the Israelites slated for salvation, that's what the Lord is expecting. He's not looking for the whole harvest to be gathered into his what you call it, his barn. All right, so you have to accept the value of the Most High's insight. Okay, and when you think about all those issues with the American farmers not having laborers to gather the watermelons and to pick the berries and strawberries and all that stuff, and the plant and the fruits just have to go to waste because of the lack of laborers. Yeah, the Lord has made that clear, man. That's why the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai mentioned that the Lord, Yahweh, send more laborers into his vineyard. And that's just how it is, man. And that's how things get done on time. That's how the Lord speeds things up, by adding more laborers to his vineyard, to this ministry, to make sure that our people are prepared for the season of harvest. We come into that season of harvest where the Lord will have to make that separation. And that's what we're looking forward to seeing, okay? So don't be alarmed when things start to get shaken up and a lot of people give up because they cannot handle the storm that's blowing hard across the four corners of the earth. All right, in forms of persecutions and prosecutions and animosity against the word of the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai, the words of prophecy. So don't be alarmed of that happening. So we get another precept from the book of Psalms. Psalms chapter 12, verses 1 to 4. Help, Yahweh Bashim Ashar Bashim Kakadash, for the godly man ceaseth, for the faithful hail from among the children of man. They speak vanity, everyone with his neighbor with flattering lips, and with a double heart do they speak. So these are the problems that the man of the Lord have to deal with. You know, that there's so much irrelevant behavior affecting our nation, distractions. Now, verse 3 says, the Lord, Yahweh, shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things. So it's a judgment, you know, for not focusing on the ministry the proper way, man. You know, when you come to be a laborer, you bring the proper type of attitude to the workplace, so that you can be in unison with the with the other laborers. You know, you're supposed to have the same. Oh, everyone speak the same thing. We're all doing the same work as laborers, returning to the Lord's garden, and making sure, you know, the prunings take place, all that stuff. You're pulling out the weeds, you're making corrections to doctrines and all that stuff. That's what we're all supposed to do. You know, we all contribute, so don't take that for granted. Okay, you're not here to be a distraction to the ministry. So that's just how it is, man. You have to understand that as a laborer, you have to consider what it takes to have a fruitful vegetation, a fruitful orchard. You know, you have to start pruning the tree of all the dead leaves and dead branches and all that stuff, man, so that the other branches, the other leaves and all that stuff can get the nutrients that they need, get the more of the sunlight. You know, that's just how it is. You don't want that, what you call it, pests to be spreading from the infected branch all the way to the healthy branches. So there has to be a separation. That's just how it is, man. In fact, there's even the correction process. You know, the admonishing process you have to deal with. Okay, so that's about it for this lesson. Abaratza, you've been edified, and you know, Yahweh Shema Shabbat Shem Gakadash really wants his servants to understand the value of being a laborer in this ministry, man, because once the reward comes, once you get that penny, you know, it'll be the greatest of all pennies upon the face of the earth, better than the combined wealth of the super elites of this world. So that's the point. Abaratiza, Yahweh Shemashah, Bashim Kakadash will continue to bless us and strengthen our minds to continue laboring. Shalom.